gentlemen, friends and family, welcome back to our channel. The Super Bowl seems to be over now, so I guess I'm safe to broadcast. We at our family, Daniela watches the Super Bowl. She was really watching. She was more interested in the commercials. She was expecting something.
The, the Epstein victims, but
The
they never came on.
the Epstein victims, but they never came on. Kind of a disappointment, I suppose. I know 107's been gearing up for something big about to happen. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me get to the chats here. Hey, Michael Double. Yeah, so everybody's kind of geared up for something exciting to happen. I don't tend to get that interested in these sorts of things. Good morning. Yeah, it's very late to broadcast. I apologize. I just kind of like floating all day. Got a lot done, actually. Really tremendous amount done. We put in two big beams. Sometimes it feels like it's about to snap. I think so. That's why I put out the title, the storm before the quiet. It feels like something you watch Kid Rock. Yeah, I didn't. Was strolling. I was checking through X. Didn't really find anything of tremendous interest. I have a few things that I want to share, but I think we're all I think a colossal shift in consciousness has just occurred with the Epstein files, and they're talking about how tomorrow. Well, let me go through my feed a little bit. They're talking about tomorrow. Let's see. Let's go here. Tomorrow they're going to be. You're at a party, and the halftime show really everybody really wants, right? But there was a post about. Let's see. Well, let's see here if we can see anything. Next week, suicide weekends. Those are the deltas. It's time to return publicly. That was for the 9th. That's for tomorrow, for Q to return publicly. And yeah, right. It's time to return publicly. That's from February 9th, 2019. Ripple, they're saying Ripple's U.S. national bank license is set for approval by Monday. And this is really on Monday, February 9th, 2026 at approximately 6 a.m. We will be working with our federal partners on a routine training exercise on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol. Please do not be alarmed if you see emergency vehicles and low-flying helicopters. Right? I mean, don't be concerned. It's only the military. We don't forget, we don't forgive. In November of 63, they took our optimism. They crushed our spirit, and worst of all, they stole our country. We are taking it back. Never forget. They're taxing half your income while printing unlimited money. Total anarchy as Antifa rioters go haywire outside Milan, Italy Winter Olympics, attacking police for hours. Antifa is a terror organization worldwide. Eat real food. Super Bowl, buckle up buttercups. Com received, okay then, LFG already. I'm not sure what that is, but game over, right? Fully reliant on God, that's what FROG stands for. World War III allegedly planned to begin on February 8th, 2026, according to Epstein files. This is probably the most interesting post, but I wanted to see, there was, okay, I guess I'm not going to find it. The world is losing its grip. Something subtle is happening right now that most people can feel but can't quite explain. The world isn't ending, it's losing its grip on your attention, your fear, and your belief that you need to live the way you always have. Let me go back to this. Let me stop sharing. I want to see the whole thing. I'm trying to figure out how to use this platform now. Okay, so let's go to back to this. Oh, I have to plug in. Okay. Now, if I can go here. Okay, the shift isn't coming. It's happened. Okay, what you feed your attention survives. The shift isn't coming. It's happening quietly. What you feed with your attention survives. That's fundamental, I think. Something subtle is happening right now that most people can feel but can't quite explain. I don't know if I'm sharing this. Hold on a second. Let me try that again. Let's see if I can go to there. Yeah, here we go. The shift isn't coming, it's happening quietly. What you feed with your attention survives. What you focus on expands. That's very important. The world is losing its grip. Something subtle is happening right now that most people can feel but can't quite explain. The world isn't ending, it's losing its grip on your attention, your fear, and your belief that you need to live the way you always have. I think this is so true. With the Epstein file release, with everything that we've learned in the last couple of years, the world has been transformed. We're all waiting for something big to happen, but the big thing that's happening is happening in the quiet. The storm before the quiet. I think we've been going through the storm, and now we've reached the quiet where things are actually changing because our consciousness is different. Our ability to understand our situation has changed, and we no longer believe that the matrix or the fear-based system has any control or any, what's the word, any moral, I want to say obligation, but do they have any dominion? Do they have any right to tell us, like in my case, that I need to get my car registered? Uh, I mean, it seems like a small thing, but we have to call them out on everything, I believe. Why should anyone even think about paying taxes? We know where the money goes. But people are getting tired of the noise, right? So this is the idea of the quiet after the storm, or the storm before the quiet. This we've been inundated with this wave of this tsunami of the deep state collapse. People are getting tired of the noise, the pressure, the constant urgency, not because they're weak, but because their nervous systems are recalibrating. When your body no longer tolerates chaos, you start seeking truth, simplicity, and real connection. This is the shift, not one big event, but millions of individuals quietly outgrowing what no longer aligns. Protect your energy, build real relationships, stop waiting for permission to live differently. The future belongs to the steady ones. This is a huge idea. And I think this is what I was seemed to be heading towards. And I saw another post that reminds me of this. But the idea that this is the quiet after the storm. The storm has already occurred. The Epstein files they're about to release another 3 million pages tomorrow. But the shift isn't coming. It's happening quietly. What you feed with your attention survives. I think this really hits home with me. And I think about the reality that I have chosen to live. I could have found another way to get by, to get through this. I could have stayed in New York. I could have stayed by the seashore. There are any number of ways this could have gone down. I'm just talking about my life, and I'm only talking about my life because I want you to think about your life. We got up this morning. I was able to sleep through the night pretty well. I didn't, I was up at about 6. The daylight, we wake up with the sun because that's just the way it is here. Because you wake up with the sun and we go inside when it gets dark. We don't have a place to go at night. We don't generally, when we are in town or when we're traveling, we might do something in the evening. But so in the morning, I went out, I put on my work clothes. I found some dead cactus. I started to work on my garden. I started digging in my garden. I started using a pickaxe on the garden to try to loosen the soil and incorporate some of this newfound debris into the soil. Then Daniela came out, and we worked on our big water tank. We started to make pot, like we raised up the level where it's going. We built a wall to protect the storage tank from the sun. So we did a lot of digging. We put up 2 posts, 2 of these like 17, 18 foot 4x10s, which are very heavy and quite. It's a bit of a. It's not. It's a hard thing to do for the two of us. It's not an easy thing to raise an 18-foot pillar that weighs a lot. But we managed to put in 2 pillars and bolt them in. I managed to find. I had found out on the desert a bunch of long lag bolts. They're lag bolts? No, through bolts. And I couldn't find a nut that fit on the end. And today I looked in a different pile and I found, they have a different threading. And I mean, these are the kinds of things that make our day. We had a nice meal together during the Super Bowl. For the first time, Daniela had acquired some kind of flour. What do you call that stuff?
Acorn flour.
Acorn
Acorn flour.
flour that she permitted me to batter the chicken. So she wanted chicken tenders. I don't think she was really satisfied. I was very. I found it a very pleasant thing. I sort of overcooked it. I guess I let the oil sort of burn off. But these are the kinds of things that, for me, make for an incredible day. That this is my idea of a wonderful day. I got to work in the garden. I got to build a new, like, part of an enclosure around bigger storage tanks. So it's things in the works, thing that I haven't really been addressing that situation, but I decided to go with the idea that to stop thinking of I'm going to make this perfectly, I'm going to raise it to the right level. I'm just like, just put it in, just do it. So it's such an important concept. And I have to play this out in my mind a lot of times because I'll like when I was laying the pipe, I wanted to get the water pipe underground so I could drive over it. I wanted to do it endlessly. I wanted to make the trench just perfect. And and then the voice inside my head said, just stop. Just put it in the ground. It's a water pipe. Just do it. But we lead a kind of it's a quiet life up here. It's just the two of us, and we have a bunch of hand tools and a couple of electric saws, and we have everything kind of down, and we do things in a very cute sort of way together. We just Daniela comes out and she says, "Well, what can I do?" And I'm like, "Okay, let's do some digging, or let's build a wall here, or let's," and we do it, and she gets tired, and I get tired, and then we go and we have a nice meal together. It's just such a it's like the when I read the trilogy and the Hobbit back in the day, it was like that's the kind of life I want. I not the I'm not talking about the grand adventure where he goes over with Gandalf and fights the world, but the quiet life of the hobbits. Like the hobbits were they would smoke pipes and sing songs, and in a way I had that in my Orthodox life. It was a very Hamish is the word, meaning kind of just humble kind of life. I don't know, but I really identify with that post. The idea that this is the quiet after the storm. We've been railing, we've been waiting. The Super Bowl is coming. It's going to be like a puppy show, and the EBS is coming. It's going to be right after the Super Bowl, and then tomorrow they're going to release another 3 million pages of Epstein files. I think at the end of the day that one needs to, or I need to just focus on the simple pleasures. I'm so happy that I don't have to go to town today. I'm so happy that I can just dig in the dirt, just do simple, like, but creative and productive, and things that move us forward in our quest to occupy this desert space. And I'm sure that many of you have chosen this kind of simple life in your own way. It doesn't have to be that you're homesteading or that you're doing anything colossal, but you have a nice day. You get up in the morning, you go through your routine. We don't eat per se. We don't really have a meal until like about 12 o'clock or around there. We'll stop and have a fruit salad, and then a few hours later we'll stop and have some kind of either chicken or meat, and some kind of meal together. It's it's the quiet after the storm. I think that's a good way to look at it. We are doing great, but I'm just hoping that everyone else is doing great as well. AI told me that the bank crash will be in May and will be free of energy. Yeah, but I know all these things, but we've been hearing this, that everything is about to change next month for the last 5 years, maybe the last 9 years, the last 10 years. Everything is about the EBS, the bank crash, and you're living inside the storm, and there's no peace because it's there's never enough excitement to convince you that it's really happening, and it's it's the real the real progress happens in the quiet after the storm, when you realize, okay, the bank crash could come, Japan could go bankrupt, they're selling all this, and the Epstein files are coming out tomorrow, so tomorrow's going to be the big day. I can tell you from experience, it's not going to happen. I mean, these things will happen, but it's not going to be this colossal event. Even if it is a colossal event, it will be the quiet analysis, the quiet shift, the quiet tidal change inside your soul that's going to make the difference, not the noise outside. It's just, after 10 years of doing this, the noise does not penetrate me so much. I did not get all bent out of shape about the EBS and the Super Bowl. Why? Because I don't, after being excited about the EBS being imminent for 10 years, after being excited about XRP going to the moon for at least 7 years, it's just like the boy that cried wolf. When it really happens, it's just like, eh, because that's not the important stuff. And that's why I'm hoping people on this channel kind of give it up, in a sense. Not to say that it's all going to be, nothing's going to change and it's all going to be the same. It's just the opposite. Adarabba. It's just the opposite. There are huge changes going on. It's just that we're tied into a kind of we're tied into a deep state way of their way of change is to put us into a panic state. From Nevada, nice. Hey, green-eyed people, cool. You agree to those feelings? I think so. Hey, Grant. Grant, what are you doing up so late, man? I hope Rosemary isn't partying all night tonight. I mean, I hope you get some sleep. You're waking. Thank you. The very nice post from Carol Armstrong. Armstrong. Carol Armstrong. Ellie, I love you. You're waking up the sleepers. There will be no peace. Man cannot physically. Nothing can change until we inhabit the public. Yeah, I think so. But it's a quiet thing. That's a process, right? It's a process. That's the real, that is, I agree with you, Grant. That is the real change. But the real change is an internal change. There's not, like I'm saying, from having been going through this for so many years, I broadcast pretty much every day. I had no idea what I was going to talk about tonight. That's why I was strolling through X all day long. I was like, well, that's not so interesting. That's not so interesting. I know about that. I know about this. Nothing really struck me as being unusual. And then at the end, I finally surrendered to the idea that it's the storm before the quiet, that we've been dealing with this. And this is the way the deep state operates. This is their way of communicating with people. And what they're not crazy about people. They like us. They prefer us they prefer us dead. Basically, I mean, they want to depopulate. They want to make less of us. I was seeing a thing about how they're not calling it vaccines anymore. They're calling them like bio genetic thing, whatever. But it's still Soylent Green. It's still but the deep state, when the way they operate is that something big is happening, and it's the alien invasion, it's the Iran is falling. The in Milan, the Antifa is protesting. It's something big is going to happen that's going to affect your consciousness. That is fear based. That is old school, and that's I think what this post is saying that we've outgrown. We can't respond to it anymore. I just don't have the I don't have the juice anymore. I've been through it. The EBS is coming. It's coming for real, for real. It's coming on Friday. The EBS is coming. I've been hearing that for like 10 years almost. It's just like it just doesn't I'm just like, oh yeah, that's nice, you know. Well, could you make, let's have some coffee. I mean, it's like it doesn't move me. The storm, this is we're the real transmutation, the real transformation happens after all this stuff, after you just you're just you're watching it. It was like I was talking about meditation, the transformation that's taken place in within my own consciousness, which is when I first heard about meditation, they said quiet your thoughts. I i was like, I tried, but thoughts were like whoosh, they were coming at me fast. Okay, let's quiet them down. I'm like, oh, they just would come more. The idea of quieting my mind, and now it's like I have the idea like, well, let's get some noise in there. I mean, I'm like too calm. It's just, but this is the training. This is the transformation that we've been exposed to, and this is the new you. It's the new me. It's just I I have the same amount of energy that I did 40 years ago, but now I go outside and I fix something. I build something. That's the difference. What's better, to sit there in total panic and paranoia and fear and you're constantly in this thought stream, or to just do something? I think it's better to do something. That's why, like what Grant's saying, is join the Republic. Let me put that out just to remind everybody that that is a very definite and quite a wondrous possibility. We've been chomping at the bit to do something to help the planet evolve, and now we have an outlet. Now it's like me with my house. I have what to do. I have two big gardens that need to be the dirt. When you start a garden, it takes even Brian Best, with his coffee, right? Brian Best, Spiritual Bean Coffee. He's a professional, like, gardener. He's a professional gardener, and he said to me, it takes a couple of years to get the soil just the way you want it. So true, so true. But the idea of soil, of the idea, the Hasidic idea, that it's not the seed that grows, it's the power of the soil that is touched by the seed, and the power of the soil creates a birth, a growth, a seed to sprout. To get the soil, to get yourself into the right mind frame. Having made many gardens during my lifetime, I know what it takes, and it takes a lot of mulch. It takes a lot of movement. You have to do stuff. It requires. I'm blessed to have a big ass wheelbarrow now. I never had a wheelbarrow like I do now, there's I'm finding things in the desert, but I don't. It just, there were two big abandoned wheelbarrows, without the wheels were broken. So I took them home and I put wheels on them. but they're kick-ass wheelbarrows, man. So I was going, I went this morning. The first thing I did was I took my little wheelbarrow up the road. There's a road past my house. Nobody lives up there. It's just a road. It goes onto state land. It doesn't really go anywhere. It just sort of ends and uh, noodles off to the side and goes down into the canyon. But it doesn't lead anywhere. It doesn't lead to like a path that goes around anywhere. It's just a road to nowhere. But I went on the road to nowhere to find more cactuses because I had come to believe and to think that even though there are no trees here, so I can't do what my father did, which was collect leaves. I could find these dead cactus bushes, and underneath these dead cactus plants is very beautiful soil. So I transported some of these cactus because I know that soil needs to be broken up with organic material. It can't be a hard baked. It's not like baking. It's not, gardening is not like baking. You put a bunch of ingredients and it becomes like soil. Soil needs to be alive. Soil needs to have air. Soil needs to have water, and especially in the desert, if it doesn't, it becomes this pancake of this hard pancake kind of thing that will not support life. Nothing will grow. There are no critters in my soil really to speak of. I don't see, there are no worms up here. There are no bugs. I don't know if that's because of the chemtrails, but I'm hoping that eventually the soil that I will percolate, that I will add the right ingredients. We put all our food scraps. I put all these like old cactuses and dirt and whatever branches and stuff I can find. The bark from the cedar posts that we use up here to make our foundations, and hope that it will percolate into a an environment that encourages plants to grow, that so we can eat. But got to keep your scared in panic. Yeah, got to keep your scared in panic. Hey, guys, it's about time. Yes, the changes have been incremental right along. People's perception has started to accelerate to the point that they are noticing the changes now, the awakening. Yeah, I think so, Pappy. You say a lot of really smart things. Yeah, I hope I'm waking up the sleepers. What is this doing here? Uh, yeah, tribal chair. Yeah, it's about time. But so that's like really, I think that's the perhaps the thought of tonight, that tomorrow could be a really big day. But for me, I'm going to probably be doing the same things. I'll be working on the same projects, whether it's a big day or not. The real excitement, the soup de jour, the real treat of tomorrow will just be, hey, I got to dig some more. I got to play with some, little things to make things work better. And maybe I'll do a little plumbing or a little fixing. And Danielle and I are planning to put in like the last of either the last or the second to last big post. And then I can start working on the second floor. I want to move a little more dirt onto my big water storage tank so that it leans in just the right direction, and finish the wall there, and maybe finish the some of the wall in my well house, and start framing my second floor. My mother said, "How are you going to get up there?" I'm like, well, I guess I'll build a staircase. And I explained to her that I get this big lumber, and that it would make a very beautiful staircase in the house to have some of this lumber. uh, I can get these thick pieces from the sawmill. Now I have to deal with the thought that this thing with the state of Arizona, where my now that I've told them that I don't really want to get I don't really want a permit. I don't. What do they call that thing? A permit? Can you get me one, baby? Thanks. Um, Registration. That I don't plan to get registered. I don't plan to do insurance. Maybe I'll do insurance. Maybe but I don't. It's not something I'm going to really be spending a lot of time researching. I don't want to get registered because it's not really required. It's the Constitution doesn't say anything about that you have to get registered and your vehicle has to be registered for you to use the roads. It's not like you could say, I mean, in the old days, you could say, well, Ellie, all our taxes, you go to the roads. If you're not going to get registered, that registration fee will help pay for the roads. Well, it turns out they weren't they weren't, the roads suck. I mean, they're making a new road. They're making a I-11, which is going to be for connecting Mexico to Alaska. It's going to be a big road, but right now it's child trafficking highway. I'm like, why are you bothering me about the fact that I don't want to get a registration because I don't really accept your laws. I don't really accept your state. Well, the guy's telling me, well, you're going to go to jail. I'm like, well, why? Why am I going to jail? I'm not. Don't you have better things to do? There's serious child trafficking in Arizona. Don't you? Wouldn't it be more appropriate for you to go after the child traffickers than basically like a hillbilly farmer who's off grid who just comes to town to get a few things to eat every couple of days? Isn't that wouldn't your energy be better spent doing that than chasing me around and putting me in jail? I mean, what possible good could come from that? What does that make any sense? Because I don't want to get a registration. I don't feel like getting registered. I don't pay taxes. I don't have insurance. I don't go. I don't see doctors routinely. I wouldn't think of I'm not planning to. Even if I did get sick, I don't know if I would go to a doctor. I don't know. They're saying that the whole scam about what was that, the large intestine cleaning that they wanted. I forget what they called it, but that I did it once where they put me under. They completely cleaned out my intestines. I was sick for months, and then they said a colonoscopy, I think it's called, and then they said, oh, you have to do it every year. I'm like, fuck you. I'm not getting another colonoscopy. I was sick for months. I was, I don't want that. Yo, you have to in case you have this. Now we know it's total bullshit, total satanic bullshit designed to hurt people. Just like they're changing the name of vaccines. If you volunteer for that, if you go, I know a lot of people my age take a zillion kinds of medications. I forget if my mother, I don't think she did, but I know for sure they killed my father with the medications. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I have, my insurance. Okay, so let me do some shameless promotion, but okay, so here we go. Let's take this off. Join the republic. That's definitely something on the books. I see these people saying it's pathetic. They're the chemtrails, the pedophiles. There's no hope for us. We're all dying. We're all going to hell in a handbasket. No, join the republic. Be part of the solution. I don't really. I don't. Oh, I was going to do the shameless promotion. I'm sorry. Now I remember. Yeah. So what is this? Yeah, no, I don't want this one. I want yeah, I want you guys, if you want, health, if you want really good health, if you want health insurance, in my opinion, get X39, get X49, get the LifeWave product. That's the number. You can call Dr. Stacy, text her, or send her a Gmail. Okay, and she will get back to you and she will sign you up like this. She'll sign you up the right way. You can call, you can reach out to, you could just sign up under Daniela's website or my website, whatever you want to do. But if you call Dr. Stacy, you're signing up under us. So you help us. It benefits us. I think these patches, we consider the patches up with groceries. It's for years, for the last couple of years, I just like, Daniela, do we have to get X39 this month? It's just too expensive. And after realizing that my whole health is on a completely different level, I don't nap. I have tremendous energy. I look at my body. I'm like, man, I got muscles for the first time in my life. I didn't want to have the reason I didn't work out all my life. I'm not a worker outer. I'm a I like to do work. I like to dig, but I didn't want to have man boobs, man. I mean, who would? So I don't, but I'm muscly because I do the kind of exercise that I want to do, which is dig in the garden, I'm getting better and better with my little pickaxe. Breaking up the soil is tough out here. But I just recommend you call Dr. Stacy. I invite you to call Dr. Stacy. Join us in excellent health. Forget about the doctors. They're just going to figure out 36 ways to kill you. Just forget about it. I'm not saying throw out your pills. I'm saying throw out your pills. I mean, think about it. What are they offering you? Did they cure cancer? I mean, I remember people always saying, like, will you give to cancer? I'm like, no, I'm not going to give to cancer. I don't want to support cancer. Give to cancer. They had cures. They've had cures. I remember when Q posted they have cures to cancer. I was like, really? That's so futuristic. No, it's simple stuff. They have all kinds of cures. They just don't want you to have it. This is a murderous, pedophilic, adrenochrome licking criminal organization that has set up a society so that you don't see what's really going on. And I have this liberal friend on Facebook, an old friend from grade school. I admire this woman. She's a smart girl, smart woman. I guess she's my age. She's 70 now, 71. But she thinks it's all about ICE. She thinks it. And my mother, I talked to my mother tonight. She's like, Trump is a dictator, don't you? I'm like, no, I don't know that, Mom. But that's the way these people think. I can't, I just said, Mom, let's not talk about it. Trump's a dictator. 8 million kids go missing a year. 8 million. The Holocaust, we all got freaked out about killing 6 million Jews. It's horrendous. 6 million Jewish people were killed. I don't doubt that. It's a horrible thing. But 8 million kids are missing a year, and nobody, the mainstream media, these liberals, this idiot friend of mine on Facebook who's worried about ICE and calls Trump a dictator. What about the children? What about the children? I mean, and this is what's coming out, and this is where this transformation of consciousness is occurring, because a person cannot conceive of the level of evil that our government, our doctors, our lawyers, our media, certainly our educators, the level of evil, the brainwashing, this is a smart woman. My mom's a smart woman. How come you can't figure this out? I don't know. I just accept it. I'm just like, This woman is like, ICE, we got to tell the world about ICE. I'm like, what about the 8 million children? You're supporting this terrorist organization, ICE. Does this make sense to you? I just remember Rush. Rush was always like, don't try to reason with a liberal. He says, let me do it. I'm a professional. Well, I'm not. I'm not a professional. I don't, but it just gets my, I don't know I really don't like Facebook. It seems like all the liberals are just waiting to pounce on me in Facebook. I just, I know better. I know better because anything that pisses you off, just stay away. Prozac made the alcoholic less inhibited. I mean, inhibited, and that made things worse. Yeah, could be Prozac, right? The level of evil is horrific. My brother says I'm brainwashed. Imagine that. I know, I know. Like my mother's telling me about my brother's going to some country in Europe that I never heard of, that I don't even know where it is. And she says, "Well, he's helping NATO." I'm like, "Why? Why would he help NATO?" Because he was in college. He was recruited by the CIA. He was, he's a career liberal. He gets paid to support this criminal organization. The fact that they traffic in children, that they drink adrenochrome, that 8 million kids go missing a year, it's just like, they just don't get it. And you cannot reason with these people. They're not interested. They already, oh, you know how liberals talk, just anyway. So the fact of the matter is, you can't get all I can't get all bent out of shape about this thing, about people like that. A smart woman, top notch, went to a top notch college. She was a top corporate lawyer. She's in the system. I'm like, well, what about the 8 million kids, man? I mean, isn't that a little more exciting to you than defending people from ICE, these tyrannical ICE dudes? I mean, like, they're this is the rule of law. These people are in our country illegally, stealing children, killing children, taking their organs, drinking their blood, eating children is okay. That's okay for liberals. They don't have a problem with that. Well, but it's this level of understanding that Epstein and that nice little fat piece of shit Hillary, she was just like such a nice liberal kind of person, and you have to love Hillary. I mean, no. This is a criminal. This is a Satanist. This is somebody who rips the faces off of children. And we're supposed to be warm and fuzzy about her? Trump's a dictator? My own mom's saying this to me, and yeah, my brother, he's off defending NATO and from the horrible Russians who also hate the Satanists. Putin is totally on the right side of history here. So why am I ranting about this? I don't know. I just can't get it. It does not compute to me. It doesn't compute. And I think that's probably what's really going to push this tidal change. Remember, I always wax poetic about my days as a fisherman. After I had a horrific car accident, and I decided that this was after being a kind of a wannabe rock and roller. I had, I was on drugs, heavy duty drugs. I was totally lost, and I got in a bad car accident, and I spent a couple of years fishing in Long Island Sound because that was really all I was capable. I couldn't. I was just broken. The accident just totally annihilated my ego. I was really pumped up on my ego, and I just it was over. So I went fishing, but the idea of a tide, of these changes, the way tides happen in Long Island Sound. I'm not sure if I'm getting the numbers exactly right, but it I seem to remember that it was like for 8 hours the tide would come in, and then for an hour, if it came in, it would just be high tide for an hour. It was called slack tide. It didn't move. And then the tide would go down. And when it was all the way down, it would go through another hour of slack tide where the water didn't move. During the slack tide, one it was very hard, it was very unlikely that you would catch a fish because the fish weren't motivated, because this tidal change, this enormous rolling of the waters, of the current coming in, was stilled for an hour. So the bait wasn't moving, the fish weren't moving, everybody was chilling for an hour. Even the fishermen were like, okay, it's slack tide. Let's just sit down and maybe get some sleep before we start fishing again. But this being exposed to this, the idea of the change is a continual thing, but there is a little rest period between change. This is where it, this this is how I understand what's going on. Just the tide was coming in and everything, and Epstein and this and that and EBS and the continual role of the thunder and the geoengineering and the XRP not going anywhere, and everything, and gold going to the moon and silver going to the moon suddenly, and all these things, and the banks reports that the banking system was going down, and uh, Jerome Powell was out, and the corrupt banking system, the Fed and the Antarctica, and all these things were constantly. It was constant movement, constant agitation, constant excitement for years, and then it seems to me that before the tide changes, you get this kind of quiet. And I think this is the quiet before after the storm. And that during this quiet, now tomorrow another million Epstein files will come out, and maybe there'll be arrests. They're talking about airplane, about a training exercise at 6 a.m. in Washington D.C. The possibility that this could erupt into a big event at any time is out there. It's possible. But the real event is internal. And the real event is finding yourself. And for me, that means, it doesn't sound like something I should be excited about. But to me, there's nothing more pleasurable, nothing more exciting than taking my little wheelbarrow, my big wheelbarrow out, and getting some old cactus things, and maybe discovering a rock that seems like it would have gold in it or something. I mean, it's very heavy. But I haven't really found what I'm looking for. It's just, but the excitement of discovery, the excitement of living your own life, and not just living for the EBS is for sure coming. 107 said it 15 times. He must know. Does he really know? Is he really in the White House? He's in the inns with. He knows I don't know. Maybe he does. Nino for sure knows, and they're all hepped up, and they want you to be excited, and they want you to. I don't see it. I don't see it because the real change is the slack tide. Because during the slack tide, the tide goes from either coming down or go having been up, coming down. It's moving in one direction or another. But there's a little time, a little quiet, a little pause. They say that the creative force, this is like mystic Hasidus, but that the creator, in order to create, has to withdraw himself, has to completely vacate, has to make a vacuum, has to he can, that when you're waiting for the bus, and you're late for work, and you're like, well, when are they going to come already? I've been in that situation many times. That the bus can't come until you forget about it, until you make that vacuum space. You have to have a slack tide. You have to have a little bit of quiet after the storm in order to produce the next level. But it seems to me that we have been kind of worn by the storm, and that now we're coming into the quiet where real change can take place. So call Dr. Stacey, get healthy, eat healthy foods. We tend towards we don't eat till like 12. Then we have a little fruit salad, and then we eat maybe like 3 or 4. We decide, what about, you want to do dinner? And I say, yeah, let's do dinner. I start the fire. This is camping was always my biggest pleasure. I always loved to be in the woods, and now I'm I'm just in the woods. I mean, even though it's the desert, it's not like out on the East Coast. It was 75 degrees today. It was a beautiful day for working. I took off my shirt for a little while. That was really pleasant. I got to be me with my wheelbarrow and my level of excitement, and digging in the dirt and hoisting a big beam with Daniela. It's a little exciting, but we have done things together that no couple should ever have to do together. Putting in big heavy windows together and hoisting big beams together, and we just know each other now. It doesn't become easier, but it's like, okay, let's do it. Let's put up a beam. Daniela's like, okay, we really need to get these beams done. To live your life without all this noise, to just be able to put the noise down for a minute and say, okay, maybe the EBS is coming today or not. But if you're living in if you're new to this thought stream, if you're a newbie, if you're a normie and you're just waking up, and it's very exciting for the first 5 years to think that everything is going to change tomorrow. When you wake up, XRP is going to be at $100 for sure, because everybody on X is telling you that's really what's going to happen. Well, one day it will, but what day that is, am I going to live my life? Well, I've been living my life waiting for XRP to go to the moon. And you know what? I have managed to get all the things done without being without having that kind of money, I've managed to get some lumber that's not perfect, but it's I got a trailer. Now I'm dealing with the state because the state has said they're gonna put me in jail if I don't get registered. So that's like, well, that could be a little problematic. You know, I don't think it would be a pleasant experience, and it would be very unpleasant for Daniela to be left without. But I'm thinking to myself, why would they do that? But we're not dealing with maybe we're not dealing with a normal enemy. I don't want to. It's like I just don't want to spend a lot of time worrying about it. I don't want to call them. I don't want to. My experience has been that if you engage these people in legal, if you fight them legally, you're done. You're toast. You might as well just give it up. You lost. So I think the best way to deal with it, the best way to deal with like an overused credit card is just, okay, man. I listen. I tried your way. You want 30%. You want 20%. Whatever it is, I can't pay it. So just forget it and don't engage them. Don't start a lawsuit. Don't hire one of those shyster gangster corporations that will get you out of trouble. They're worse than the IRS. The IRS doesn't exist. Taxes are voluntary. We are we are coming into a situation where, like, did you see that there was a video of a man in the Atlanta airport just screaming at people? He was like, don't you understand? You're sitting here acting like everything is normal. The Epstein files came out and they're all drinking blood of children. You're just sitting here like everything is normal. It's not normal. But on the other hand, can you spend your whole day being that upset? I think it's horrendous. I think that the enemy and the level of evil is horrendous. But I'm still tomorrow morning. I'm going to get my wheelbarrow and my little shovel, and I'm going to go. I'm going to go for my little adventure in the sunshine when the sun rises. I prefer the mundane. Right? It keeps me from thinking too much about the hard things. I think that's a great way to say it. Yeah. So we invite you to call Dr. Stacy. Let me. I think you've seen enough about that. The X39 copper peptides reset. Get your stem cells active. Much better than traditional medicine. I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but the truth is, this stuff is. There are all kinds of patents. It was designed for the Navy SEALs. It's it's health real in my mind real health insurance. They get these people into education camps mandatory because they will not educate themselves. Actually going on, they need to learn. I don't know what you're saying about camps. I don't know what you're saying. And NCR, I don't know. Psychology says it all on the negative side, right? Anything to do with NATO is demonic. I agree. I agree. That's Carol Armstrong. Garcia's Vaya con Dios. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I prefer the mundane. I think so. I think that's the perhaps the slack tide is to prepare us for the quiet change that will emerge while most of us are sleeping. It is the awakened that will be called to lead. Yeah, yeah, but the thing that I've noticed about slack tide on a day where it's not windy and you can really see the tide, that it comes in these little tiny waves, like little staccato waves, like like wrinkles on my head. I mean, they're just like these little teeny wrinkles. That's when you know the change is coming. I don't know. What does it mean? Who knows? Um, Cusp numbers are the root of human trafficking since Nero. They were original. Yeah, could be. This goes way back. This goes back to the Old Testament. This goes back to Leviticus. Do not pass your children through the fire. when I got up this morning, by the way, and I started I I went through the process of waking up as an Orthodox Jew this morning. I went through the morning ritual. I don't know why, but I just felt the need to do that. Oh, I know why. Because since this policeman threatened to put me in jail, my reaction to those kinds of attacks are always say start saying Psalms, read the Psalms. And I was remembering that I once got kicked out of a school in Staten Island. I went to Staten Island. I went to this school, and I got into an argument, a little bit of an argument about the Crown Heights riots with a woman who was African American, and she just complained. I don't know who she complained to, but they got me thrown out of there. They got me, Mr. Weber has to go. This is the kind of thing that always happened to me. So they put me in a room somewhere in Queens, and I started saying Psalms. I just I started the Psalms of King David, David Amelech, the King David. I just started saying Psalms. I went through like the whole book, which is very hard for me. My Hebrew's not that good. And then after doing this all morning, about 1 o'clock, a very well dressed African American gentleman came into the room, and he said, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, what do you want to do?" He was like, he was just like being nice to me. I said, "Well, I'd like to go," and I remember I had an answer. I forget what it was. I said, "I want to go back to Brooklyn. I just want to send me to send me to teach some bad boys in Brooklyn. I'd rather do that." Staten Island was not good for me. You know what the problem with Staten Island was? The thugs, the kids were wannabe gangsters. They all wanted to be gangsters. I said, "Send me back to the real gangsters." I went back to Brooklyn where everyone was Crips and Bloods. They weren't like out to these like wannabes where they were trying to prove themselves, and they were tough. But and then this I got into it with this teacher, but give me, a real thug. No, he's not going to mess with you because he's already been to jail. He doesn't want. I'm thinking of jail now. But anyway, the idea that I was saying Psalms, and then this guy said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Send me back to Brooklyn, please. I want to be close to my house." And I went to Staten Island, but it's frankly, it's too white for me. I can't deal with it. Even though I was dressed like a Hasidic, uh, I had all the black hat and the shirt, and I was just like, you guys, Staten Island is just not for me. Um, why are the cops threatening you? Because they said because I didn't renew my registration on my truck, and I don't want to. I don't feel that it's. I don't feel it's any of their business. I don't feel like I don't want to. I don't even need a reason. It's not in the Constitution. It's they can't do it. And so the guy pulled me over. He says, you don't have your registration isn't up to date. I said, yeah, I'm not paying. I'm not interested. So he said if we're gonna if you don't answer this thing, if you don't call the court by March, whatever it is, we're gonna next time we see you, we're gonna put you in jail. So I said, listen, man, I don't know. I don't know what to do because I don't accept your courts. I've been to courts. And I don't accept it. It's a satanic. It's not. I mean, at what point do we draw the line? At what point do we say I don't comply? When you're in the, I don't know it, but for me, it seems like I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't pay taxes. I don't have insurance. I don't want it. I'm not interested in your games. I don't accept your courts. I just don't accept it. So when do people like this guy running around at the Atlanta airport saying, "You're all acting like it's normal." The Epstein files, they're eating children. At what point do we say enough? You want to put me in jail? I mean, why? What about all the child trafficking that goes on right in front of your faces? Don't you think that would be a better way for you to spend your energy? At what point do we say no? Do I just go about my business? Well, it's not that big a deal. It could be. I don't know what it costs to get registration. They tried to give me a speeding ticket. I'm like, I'm not paying it. I wasn't hurting anyone. I didn't commit any crime. I was just going fast. And there were no cars around. And I'm not going to pay it. And Danielle's saying, "No way, we're paying it." So, we're in on this together. It's just, at what point do the people, this is 11.3 in the law of war manual. The As long as the occupying force has control of the population, the military can't step in and stop these assholes, stop these criminals, stop these pedophiles. As long as we comply. That's why the joining the republic is so important. But that will signal to the White House that we're not complying anymore. We choose not to be governed by an illicit criminal corporate organization. We want to have the republic. We want to live under divine law. Divine law doesn't say you have to get your truck registered, because why? Why do I have to get my truck registered? Just because that's the guy said, "Hey, it's Arizona state law." I'm like, but it's not in the Constitution. Why? So anyway, I don't know. On YouTube, AI code double your crypto. Right? Yeah. Stay away from scammers. Getting a free dot registration. I'll let you know how that works out. Getting a free Department of Transportation. Nice. But they will imprison you. Hey man, listen, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm not going to court. I'm not going to pay them. When do we stop complying? I don't know. Maybe I will when a push comes to shove. I'll just pay them and say, just leave me alone. I don't know. But about vaccines, I managed to tell my students about vaccines. 9/11 and JFK, evil CIA before retired in 2009. I wish I could have told them about flat Earth and Tartaria, right? But they won't. I'm. If that's, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Too white. You must like crime. Then no, it's not that I like crime, but I understand that people who are real deal. How could you say that? How would you say that? Are you a troll? I don't know. You must be a troll. But no, I'm just saying that there's a difference between a wannabe criminal and a real criminal. I'm not saying criminals are good. I'm just saying that they were more understanding. Now, if you can't handle that, if you can only see things in a very black and white thing, you probably won't understand anything that I'm saying, because nothing is that black and white. We are dealing with criminals. We are dealing with people who eat children. They are running our world. Those are the real criminals. The people that I taught, they weren't like, they weren't aggressively mean, or I don't know what they did outside of school, but they for a lot of the kids in the hood, if you don't belong to either the Crips or the Bloods, you can't go home without getting beat up. I'm not judging them. I'm not saying that they're angels, but my experience was that the people, the young men, and really young men and women in Staten Island, which is probably economically on a little higher level, they really wanted to be like criminals, and they did stupid shit. So I mean, so they will imprison me. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what level do we do like that guy in the Atlanta airport? At what level do we say no way? I don't believe in this government. You guys you're all in on it. It's all based on a lie. There is no That's 11.3. The world cannot change until we wake up and do something. You could join the republic. You could comply with everything. You could pay your taxes and they'll still fuck with you. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. The world isn't flat. Okay, fine. I don't know. The world isn't flat, and and managed so much. Okay, so Epstein was involved with Bitcoin. Yeah, we know all that. I mean, we know that the whole world is being run by a criminal gang, a cartel of gangsters. This is a huge. We're talking. They're talking about so many sealed indictments that it's unimaginable. Pizzagate made me physically sick. Yeah, it's disgusting what these people do. So we're supposed to be like good little boys and girls and just, okay, man, I got my registration. I'll get my insurance. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's it gonna take for people to wake up so that the military can step in. 11.3, the occupying. I asked a retired military, like on a very high rank, on my channel. You saw it. I said, what does that mean? He says that the occupying force is still in control because they control the population. Do they control Antifa? No, Antifa's going to do what they want. Do they control the good little sheeps, even people like you and I? Do they control us? Yeah. When do we break the spell? How do we break the spell? Well, one way is to join the republic. The other is, for me, is to live off grid, where I don't have to deal with neighbors being upset that I'm not building up to code, or that my septic tank isn't certified. I don't know. Anyway, everyone has to make their own decision. They're going to call you a sovereign citizen, another all-encompassing oxymoron, right? Yeah, they'll probably. I told them. I said, I just, I think that they'll either back up or they won't. I'll find out. But I need to know where I stand. I mean, I went down to town. They're obviously not, they're not rooting for me. They repossessed my other vehicle while we went to Walmart for 5 minutes, and they took my truck. So they're not going to go out of their way to help me. But I don't know. I'm asking them the question. Why would I want to do something that's really not required of me? Why would I want to go above and beyond? I don't I don't need it. I don't want inspectors up here. I don't I That's why I live where I live. I'm building my house. No one's going to give me a C of O. I don't want a C of O. I don't need your certification. I'm building a house for me and my sweetie. And that's it. You don't it's not certified. Okay, it's not certified. Yeah, but I can't live my life where I'm so nervous about what they're going to do to me that I can't live. I'm innocently asking why why anyway. I don't need to defend myself to you guys, but you once said that plants die around you. It's perspective, flat around. It's multi-dimensional. You once said that plants die around you. It's perspective, flat around, it's multidimensional. Okay, that's good. I don't know what you mean exactly, Wade, but it's fine. Watch Eric Doobie, 200 Proofs Earth is a Spinning Ball. It only took 2 hours to convince me Earth is flat, right? They're going to call you a sovereign citizen, another all encompassing oxymoron. Pizzagate made me physically sick. Yeah. So there's a lot going on. But at the end of the day, I believe that we are going through the quiet after the storm, and that we just have to enjoy the beauty and the joy of creation. And that's it. So I know I started late. We're really trying. We want to have like a regular time for these broadcasts. I will be doing more with guys about the Republic. I'll have some guys on, and we'll share about they know more about it than I do. And our Thursday show is going to be about veterans. I'm going to continue to be meeting with Dave about business pioneers in Arizona, Monday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. On Tuesday, Dr. Stacy is going to come at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. She also does her Zoom courses on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Wednesday. On Thursday, I'll be meeting with a kind of a veterans. It'll be mostly veterans. So if you're a veteran, please come to our Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And then I'll be broadcasting. We're shooting for around 8:30 Eastern Time to do our regular broadcast, but it's going to take us a while to get there. And I apologize. Tonight was really late because Daniela was watching the Super Bowl. Anyway, we got this, man. It's all going to be good. It's all is good. And this is the quiet after the storm. Let's just do a let's do New Morning again. I know I have to do it this way.
Front porch, Sunday at dawn. The night was hotter than hell and forever long. I can see the first light breaking through the trees. I feel the changes in the cool breeze of freedom. It's a new morning. We never saw it coming, hiding in plain sight. Banksters taking power, stealing our lives. They were looking to bury us in debt, shame and fear. But our roots grew stronger as we reached into the air with freedom. Freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new each day we're rising up in this world with the power of love, with the power of peace, the power of joy, the power of truth. It's a new morning. It's a new morning. It's a new morning.
Yeah, so I identify with it's nice, B from Arizona, the idea of the Hopis and just living, just being able to live your life. I just want to live my life. I don't I you know I can't come into town to buy my groceries every week, that I have to get registered. I mean, I don't know. It seems obsessive, but I don't know. I just, this is all an experiment for me. I don't, I, there's no written, anything written in stone. There's no, this is the way it has to be. It can't be. I just want to be left alone. I want to be able to build the way I want to build and do what I want to do. And if they're going to give me a hard time, they're going to give me a hard time. I mean, they already took my Jeep. So, they didn't have to do that. I don't think they're going to, they're going to recoup a lot of money from doing that. They could have come to me. We could have made a deal, but okay, they chose their pathway. It's okay. Everything is good. And if you want to be a flat earther, if you don't want to be a flat earther, that's good too. No one's judging you on this channel. You can do whatever you want. Freedom. That's what freedom is. We're learning. We don't know what freedom is. We've been so enslaved by these parasites. But now it's going to be good. I wonder if vaccinated can be awoke. Such a great. Thank you, Green Eyed people. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's just like, well, we the night was hot and long, and we've been through the storm, and now it's time to just live your life and join the republic and use the LifeWave patches if you could. I mean, that really helps us. We love that. We love good health. Eat good foods. Don't eat bad foods. Don't eat produce foods. We had some because of the in honor of the Super Bowl, I got to eat some chips and stuff, and it just made me very thirsty. So I don't know what's in them. They say what's in them, but who knows what's really in them? They're healthy. I mean, but whatever. Anyway, so may the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force, and that freedom is something that we don't really know, but we want freedom. And like in that post, they said what you focus on expands, what you think about expands. I'm amazed. My mother was saying, like, wow, you've accomplished so much up there. We've really been camping out for a year and a half, and now we have something resembling like a dwelling place, and we have a well, and we have a garden, and we hope to just continually experiment with different levels of joy and creation. May Source be with you. May you realize that you are part of Source. You are Source itself. You are the creative power. You are the light of life. So we'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you at 4 o'clock Eastern time with Dave, and maybe Brian will come on. I don't know. If you're interested, if you want to be on one of my shows, just send me some information. I'm I like the idea of like regular folks getting to broadcast. I would like more and more people to feel comfortable doing this kind of thing. So if you have a little business and you want to come on and talk about it, let me know. I'll send you a link, and you'll come on. You'll come on with me and Dave, and we'll talk about having a business or creating a life. So let's get out there with a big smile on our face and rock.